Tunisia is known for its golden beaches, sunny weather, and unique blend of Arab and Berber cultures and influence. Often seen as simply a beach destination, Tunisia has a bucket full of surprises, tourist attractions, and things to do for those that venture off the sandy shores. This North African wrapped up into one bite-sized package. The sun-soaked beaches of the Mediterranean coastline, fringed by palms and lamped by gentle waves. Interesting, right? It's the Midday Show on Eka Television International. Of course, we always talk about different countries and tell you what to do and what not to do, and give you ideas of countries you should visit. As usual, I have Tony in the studio with me. Hi, Tony.
Good afternoon.
How you doing?
I'm fine. And how are you
Why
doing?
are you so calm? What's up?
You know, when you have a guest, you will have to.
You're
Of
welcome,
course.
sir.
Yeah. God bless you. God bless you.
Amen. Welcome
You
to
know,
the show.
my reason for dressing this way is actually for me to be a guest on this show, and not to be a co-host with you.
Whoa, okay.
So there are some certain things that I will need to tell you, of which I'm very sure you may have not known about this particular country,
Interesting.
because I have been there. So, and that's why I intend to pose like a guest on the show. You're welcome.
Okay, my guest, you're welcome to the show today.
Sir, at sir.
Oh Lord, okay. I forgive you for this, but anyways, you see, we're talking about Tunisia, right? And it's very interesting to know that it's actually a safe country to visit.
True.
Like, one of the reasons why I think some people should visit Tunisia is because it's a safe country and they are warm people, they are friendly people. If you decide to visit Tunisia for anything, then you are welcome to do so, because the people in Tunisia will always want to know what you have for them while you're in their country and what you want to do, and then they ask you if you've tried their favorite dish.
You know,
Like, it's more like an interesting thing for you to know that to have people like that that want to welcome you into their country and want to know a whole lot of things about them. They are happy to tell you things that they do in their country and what you will achieve in the country. So then, as it is, if you visit Tunisia, then you should be rest assured that you're going to get all the things you require, all the things you want to do, most especially when it has to do with business, education, or any other thing you want to do. So far as is in line with what is going to be good for the country, they are always ready to teach you a lot of things about them. So I think one of the reasons why I want to visit Tunisia today is because it's a safe country and because I know they are warm people, and so they will welcome me well.
You know, one thing that strikes me about the Tunisians is that just like some other few countries that are actually safe,
Yeah.
Tunisia happens to be one of the countries that happens to be safe too, and they are generally warm people. They are friendly. Whenever they come in contact with visitors or tourists, they try as much as possible to get interacted with them. They try to know more about you, and as well they want to ask questions of why you decided to come and visit their country. They want to know your reason behind coming to the country, so that it won't be as if you're coming to either to exploit them or with a bad intention or stuff. But then they just want to know the reason why you are there. Is it for you to come and explore the cultural architects that they have, or are you coming for another interior motive and all of that? So they are this kind of inquisitive sort of persons that just want to know more about the reason behind your coming or visiting their country. And aside from that, Tunisia happens to be a country that have experienced a lot of reformations right from time, because this country has been in existence since the 1st century. And when you talk about country or a place being in existence for over centuries, you should know that there have been a lot of changes that have occurred, and there have been a lot of inhabitants that have made their place, that particular place, as their place of residence. When you talk about ancient occupants of Tunisia, you have people like the Romans, you have people like the Punics, you have people like the Libyans, you have people like Arab. Like, a lot of people have settled in Tunisia.
Yeah.
And that is why a lot of influences of some of these places and some of these people that occupied the country as at then, you see a lot of influences of all of these occupants there in the country. In fact, Tunisia has some particular site or tourist attraction that tends to be in rivalry to Rome because of how preserved they decide to have preserved some of these places. When you talk about some of these tourist attractions, you talk about places like Carthage, where you see a lot of theater, like a place that is being built for theater, a place that is built for festival, a place that is built for carnivals and lots of celebration that was being done during then.
Yeah.
Not as if they're actually still making use of them, but then they are being preserved for people to come and see. It's a place that you can go and to give you a flashback of how things were done in the past. Like, it's a very nice country that me personally, I would want to experience some of these things. In as much as I have been there before, I would also want to as well, you know. See
Please,
more.
are you telling me that you have been there before?
That's
so
why
you
I'm
will still
dressed
want to
like
go
this
there
now, so
again?
that you ask me questions of what you don't know about the country. Then I will be exposed to telling you, or disposed to telling you rather. So you are welcome to any question you want to ask me.
Wow, this is very interesting.
Show your questions.
Anyways,
I know you've not been there, and I don't know when you will be there.
I'm not disputing the fact that I've not been there, but of course we all have plans of going to different countries because we want to explore.
But
we want to
truth
do
of the
a lot
matter
of
is,
things.
Tunisia. If you go to Tunisia, you will almost think or see Tunisia not to be an African country.
Of course,
because
true,
because of the contemporary structure that has been given to the
True,
taste of
very
architects
true.
and
Very
in terms
true.
of buildings and infrastructures that have been put in place. It's a very nice country that you go there and you will see little of black people, and then you will see more of Westerners and other Arab citizens and all of those people there exploring their cultural cultural inheritance, their religions, and a lot of things that are explorable in that particular country. So I believe that if you want to go there, you should seek for my indulgence first. So I'll tell you where and where not to
I
go.
feel attacked today.
No,
Like,
I'm
why
not
are you
attacking-
attacking me?
I'm
Why
not
like
attacking-
I don't understand?
It's my problem with you is when someone is sincere, you don't take.
So you're being sincere.
Yes, I'm being honest with you because
Okay.
I want the best
I like
for
this part
you.
of it. I like where you're coming from today. I really like
I'm
it.
not trying to help you.
Payback.
Okay.
Don't worry, I'll get back to you. Not
No
right now,
problem,
but
no
then
problem.
we'll get there. Like, I agree, no problem. You're free to attack me,
I'm not
but no
attacking
problem.
you.
Anyways, I have plans of visiting Tunisia because when you talk about a safe country, Tunisia is safe. And when you
Extremely.
talk about people who actually allow you to do some certain things, is Tunisians.
True.
And then when you talk about people in Tunisia, you just know that you're talking about happy people, you're talking about warm people, because if you are a visitor and you tend to travel to Tunisia, or rather you are in Tunisia and then you want to do business or you want to know more about what they do, they're freely available, like to tell you
Freely
everything you
welcoming.
want to do. And most of the things, like the things that they do there, like what gives them money mostly, they said most significant exports are textiles and leather products, electrical machinery, and crude and refined petroleum. Its major imports are consumer products, raw materials, machinery, and electrical equipment, and food products. Of
True.
course, like when you talk about all these things, like it is one thing that you need to know about the people in Tunisia. Like they bring up all these things in order to get income, in order to get what
To
they
boost
want.
their
to be
economy.
of course, to boost their economy. And then so when you talk about the kind of businesses they do, a lot of people want to go there to learn from them because they just need to know the basic things that they want to understand, and then they end up teaching other people as well. So then it's interesting to know that people in Tunisia want to teach you a lot of things for you to be able to learn and be able to teach other people. They are not selfish, they are not hoarding their knowledge for any
Not
reason.
at all.
So when you ask them questions or when you want to know more about what they do, they are ready, they are available for you to ask them anything. And then they give to you the way it's supposed to be. So then they don't just hoard their knowledge and they don't do things. So now we have some reasons why people should travel to Tunisia. When we talk about easy access. Then when you talk about the things that you get, like when you find yourself there, you have access to almost everything that you need. You have access to almost all things, the time and everything. Like for a particular period of time, they'll give it to you to be able to explore, to be able to understand how things are being done. You know, there are different countries that when you find yourself, you're not allowed to do some certain things. Rather, you're not allowed into maybe
restricted to some certain
of course,
things.
you're restricted to a lot of things. But then people in Tunisia will always tell you have access to maybe some things that you need to know, to the places that you need to visit, for transportations from one place to another, and all sorts of things. So then they give you the opportunity to access a lot of things within that vicinity. So then it's actually welcoming for you to know that when you visit Tunisia, you know that you have access to all the things that you want. It's easy to tack on a tour of the region and all of that. So then it's interesting to know that you have access to anything in Tunisia.
And you know, one thing that I think one of the reasons why they're actually easy to access is that they encourage you interacting with the locals. Because if you are going or traveling to Tunisia on the purpose of let's say for tourism, of course you will have to interact with locals for them to either put you through some certain places, like to guide you on some certain things, on how things are supposed to be done best there in that vicinity also. So if you are not really being expressive to them, there is no way you probably get the satisfaction of what you want. So it's best you know, sometimes you probably when you travel to a new place, you try to interact more with the locals so that you know more about things that you probably may not have heard of, or probably things that you are likely not to see. But then by the time you ask questions, you make inquiry, you'll be exposed to a lot of things that you are likely not to miss to see even when you didn't ask questions. So some of these things are things that you get in return when you interact more freely with the locals. And because of, I mean, one of the reasons again is that they have a lot of cultural sites. They have a lot of places that you can go to, that if you don't ask questions or you don't go with people that will serve as guides for you, you are likely not to see or probably get what you want in totality. So, and that's why they try as much as possible to make themselves very easy to access so that you can ask questions, because these are some of the things that they do to as well earn little changes, earn little money for themselves. So they just have to be extremely easy to access, and that's why they are very, and that's why you see them to be described as those that are very warm. They are very warm in accommodating, they are very friendly in accommodating, and they are very easy to access. So that's one of the reasons why they are actually being described as such.
Sir,
because
for giving us the reasons, some of the reasons why they will give you the access
you just
into doing what you want to do.
Though.
No, you have been to Tunisia before, so I think you should actually tell us more about the people in Tunisia. But then tell us about their culture.
Their culture is a very unique culture. Like, their culture is actually intertwined with that of African, and then France, and then Rome, like a lot of inhabitants or occupants that have been there in that particular region of the country or that particular region of the world. So that's why if you go there, you will see that their culture is actually being intertwined. It's mixed up with the African culture. It's mixed up with the French culture. It's a mixed sort of culture that when you go there, you will be confused at first, and you'll be like, what sort of culture is this? What sort of thing is this? Like, you will be amazed. And that's what I said earlier, that if you go to Tunisia today, you will be very, very surprised to see how modernized Tunisia have become right now. And if you go to their capital city, which is Tunis, you realize that they have the old city and the modern city. If you go to the modern city, there is where you see a lot of beautiful structures, a lot of beautiful buildings, a lot of modernized buildings that have been rebuilt, that have been worked or established upon, that probably would prompt you to either stay there or do your businesses there and all of that. And during the daytime, you see people walking around, people that own shops, that own restaurants, cafes, business enterprise, like you see all of them like doing their normal thing and all of that. But then when you go to their old city, this is where you see a lot of not really abandoned, but then preserved sites that have been preserved from, let's say, 5th, 4th centuries, and up to this moment they are still in existence. These are places that have been affected by wars, that have been affected by one thing or the other, but then a lot of some specific sites are still being put in place for people to come and explore, for people to come and see. It's a place that when you go there, it will give you a flashback of how the olden days life used to be like, how their daily activities then was being done. Like, it's a reminder to olden days. Sometimes I feel if we, the generation of today, can have a flashback or have a reboot back to how things are done in the past, perhaps it will even help us a lot, because it will give us inspiration to how we can do things even best than what we have done today. So I think it's a place that if really you are the type that want to be, or you want to improve yourself in terms of architect, you want to improve yourself in terms of cultural insights, or probably having more knowledge about cultures and all of those things, is a place to visit, especially the olden days.
Of course, they will give you the right to actually experience all these things. You know, there are some particular countries that when you find yourself, they don't allow you to know like the in-depth of some certain things about them. But people in Tunisia will actually give you that right, that opportunity for you to experience all those things, especially when it has to do with maybe their locals. When you talk about their locals, there are a lot of things that they do, when they have a lot of trainings that they give to people, especially when you are a visitor. They try to tell you this is what they do do, this is what they don't do, this is what you should learn to do. Especially when you have to talk about maybe their meals, they teach you how to make it. Like, it's actually interesting because a lot of people today will want to travel to a particular country, but they don't even care about what they eat or maybe about how they even make it. Some people will just want to learn. Some people will just tell you to hell with it. Like, I just want to eat and live. Like, I just came for a particular business or maybe a meeting or something I'll be leaving. So there's no need. But there are people that will just travel purposely to go and learn how to cook, how to make their dishes, because it's actually interesting to know that if you know that you can actually make a particular dish in a different country, then it's actually something that is welcoming. It's more like an advantage to you, an added advantage to you in learning a lot of things. So then they give you the opportunity to experience all of that. They offer you that time for you to learn how to cook, to learn how to do businesses with them, to learn how to make a lot of things. Making of the leather, I'm sure it's all these leathers that they're making shoes and bags and belts and all of that. Like, they are good in that. They always tell you the right things to do, the right materials to use and all of that. So it's interesting to know that if you want to learn about people in Tunisia, then you should be able to travel there to learn a lot of things that they do in order to actually give you what you want. They have a lot of things there. People are warm people, they're friendly, they're welcoming, and they give you all the things that you desire in order to build yourself and also build the country in particular. They won't just let you come to their country and then end up ruining it for them. When they talk about, when they say they are welcoming people, it means that they give you the opportunity to do anything you want to do that is positive, not on the negative side. And then when you learn all those things, actually you're going to bring it more like you're helping them as well. So then they actually try to teach you all these things for you to experience and for you to understand that this is what you're supposed to do. So then when you talk about what they do and all of that, if you talk about what they are interested in, they bring you there and then they tell you, they show you that they give you their homes to be yours as well. You feel at home. They'll always advise you that when you see a crowded place that is not welcoming for you, you shouldn't find yourself close by because it's dangerous for you. Of course, it's a safe country, but if you find yourself in a place where, of course, when you realize that you're going to a safe country, not that we're saying it's not safe, it is safe, but then you need to be careful with a lot of things. You need to be cautious about where you're going to, the environment you find yourself, and how you keep your belongings. Of course, if you're careless, you definitely lose them. So then they'll always tell you that you should be careful and study your environment a lot. So then if you're talking about, okay, you're going to a particular place, be able to go there at the right time. If you want to know, and if you want to get to know about anything, you should be able to ask questions. If you ask questions, they are able to tell you. They will not just hold their information, but rather they will tell you this is what you should do, this is where you should go to by this time and not by this time. Of course, it's interesting to know that if they're willing to tell you all these things, then you should be happy because you're going to know everything you want to know about them, and then you do the right thing at the right time. So don't always get carried away by some particular activities or festive periods and all of that, and they end up doing the wrong thing and they end up entering trouble. But then we should always ask questions. If you find yourself in a country that is not yours, of course you're going there as a visitor, you're visiting, or rather you're going there for maybe just to have fun, maybe for business or anything, or maybe education. You should learn to know about your environment and know all the things you should do and what you should not do, because you might end up being in trouble, you might end up doing the wrong thing.
True. You know, talking about the people of Tunisia, if you are the kind of person that is driven to connect deeply with the locals, they try as much as possible to as well teach you how to make some of these their local meals. They see it to be exciting for one coming from somewhere else, then coming to learn what they eat. You know, it's very interesting. It's very exciting. Having seen someone that comes from a strange place and then is so keen to knowing more about how this particular thing is produced, how it is prepared, how it is cooked, and all of these things. So they are to that extent nice. They don't try as much as possible to give you a bad impression about them, but they try to see that you have a positive impression about them, even if you are not really that kind of a person that is lively or probably would want to be expressive in every way possible. They try as much as possible to even ask questions. They might even push by asking you that, have you ever tried so meal, to know if you probably are a lover of your food, you're a lover of food, or someone that would probably be interested in testing one or two of their meals and all of that. So it's a very interesting thing to know about the Tunisians, and for the fact that they are accommodating and free to answer any question that you want to ask them, that's a very good sign for me. And one of their daily activities that they actually put in place, but probably they keep doing every now and then, is for the fact that they don't really indulge into gossip. They are this kind of people that they mind their business a lot. And that's why sometimes the reason why, if only for you to see a Tunisian approaching you is probably if he feels, if he or she feels that you are probably lost, or you are confused, or you're trying to get your destination, one thing or the other.
It means they mind their
They
business.
mind their business. But if you are not found in that kind of state, believe me, they are not going to probably bother to
Bothered.
ask anything about you, or may ask you of anything, or to even try to inquire what's going on with you and all of that. But in totality, they are actually nice and they are very accommodating. But you see gossiping, they don't really have time for it. That's one thing I like about them.
Yeah, anyways, the people in Tunisia are warm people, they are loving people, they are friendly
Fun.
and all of that. If you want to have fun, of course, Tunisia is another place for you to visit, because you will have your fun to the fullest. There's no dull moment. When it's time for business, they do business. When it's time to have fun, they
You
do
have
it to the
fun.
fullest. Like, they don't just, there's no dull moment when you visit Tunisia. So then we have a lot of tourist attractions and places that if you visit Tunisia, where you should go to. The first place, we have the El Jem Theater. The walls of the mighty Roman theater is the dwarf, the surrounding modern town, the incredibly well-preserved Roman relic in Tunisia. Big sightseeing highlights. One of the most popular things to do on the day trips for coastal resorts, and one of the best examples of the theater architecture left standing in the world. So, the monumental bulk of the walls are a reminder of Rome's once mighty grip across North Africa. You can still walk the corridors under the arena, just like the gladiators did, or climb up the top seating tiers and sit staring across the arena, imagining the battles that took place below. So it's interesting to know that this is one of the places that you can find yourself, and you can actually sit down there, like you can sit on top and then see what's happening below and all the activities that is being taking place and all of that. Actually a theater for people who want to learn a lot of things, and then the Roman relic in Tunisia, and then big sightseeing and all of that. So then this is actually a beautiful place for you to visit and actually do anything you want to do in particular.
This particular place, it is a place that have been built in centuries, and when you have a place like this still being kept into existence, that is that there are a lot of things that that have been misplaced. But then for the fact that the beauty is still being maintained
Of
despite the centuries that are passed and all of that, is a thing that I think is applauding, because of how preserving these people have been towards this particular place. And it's a place that I think by the time you have yourself indulge into that particular environment, or in this particular site, it will remind you of how wars were being fought in those in the past years. Because when you watch movies that depict our olden days life, I think some of these buildings are buildings that you see in those movies,
Yeah.
and then it will give you a flashback. Okay, I think these are some of these movies are not really lying, but then they are actually being acted upon, what, or the re-event of what happened in the past. So going to places like this, it will remind you of some of these past events that happened. You did the mention of gladiators. If not for now, gladiator used to be a myth for me, because I used to
Oh,
feel
yeah.
it's just something that a story that someone just cooked up just to make
Yeah.
life interesting for everybody. But then these are particular event of some persons that actually lived then or existed then. So these are places that when you go there, it will give you a flashback, it will give you a reminder of how things are done or were done in the past. And it's a place that you can as well take pictures, have the fun of it to the best, and it's just fun for me, honestly. I see nothing but fun in this particular building.
Jalba is another place for people to visit. They said if you're looking for the picture perfect beach escape, then the island of Jaba is the place for you to visit, and then to check and do all the things you want to do. He said check all the right boxes. The island town of Sok is the main point of interest of the beach. And also it's actually an old town district that is a model of whitewashed houses. Of course, it's another place for you to visit, and then shopping is an attraction in itself, with plenty of handicrafts vendors for browsing and handling opportunities off the beach. But it's those sandy strips of shoreline out of town that are the island's most popular highlights. So then if you find yourself in this particular beautiful place, it's actually a place for you to relax, a place for you to just just think anything you want to think, like just sit down, shop. The place is very beautiful, like it's attractive. If you are able to visit this particular, I think the first place for you to visit is this place, because if you want to
Is it
relax,
because
you
of the
just,
beauty?
of course it's beautiful. Who wants to go to a place that is not beautiful? Who wants to visit a
Oh.
place that is not
No, I'm just
lively?
asking you that. Is it
Of
because of the
course.
beauty?
Excuse me, I
Okay.
thought you've been to Tunisia before. You haven't
That's what I'm
visited this
asking.
place.
That's what I'm asking. Is it
Haven't you
because of the
visited
beauty?
the place?
I
Don't you know how?
have.
Don't you know how
I
it
have.
is? Don't you
And
know
the
what it
second,
means
the
to be
second
there?
name to this Jabba is actually fun.
Oh,
That's the
oh,
second
really?
name too,
So
because
you see, and I said
no,
it's a place for you to visit, and you're asking.
the reason why I was asking you is that maybe I was feeling connected. I was feeling you already connected to me, to knowing how beautiful
Dear
this place
Lord,
is. So that
your
was why
daughter
I was
is in
actually
your hands.
that was why I was asking you that question. You know, this particular site is a very interesting place. It's a very exciting place to be because of how beautiful the whole place looks like. And it's not just about having fun, having picnics here and there, but then for the fact that you are in that environment, having experiencing the weather, the cold, the water, and everything is one thing that outstands uh, heavens, or let's say paradise. So I believe that if I am opportune to traveling here again,
I was waiting for you to say if you're opportune to travel here without the again, then I'll just.
so are you calling me a liar right now?
I did say you're a liar, but just that we're in church, so you're not supposed to be saying the otherwise in church.
Let's not dwell into that.
Anyways, if
no,
you
no,
want
you
to
know,
have
this
fun,
this is a place that
just
even the Tunisians actually they try as much as possible to, you know, see as a place of love, like a place that define affections of love, in the sense that it's a place you can go and maybe probably make proposal to your girlfriend, or
perfect beach escape.
like it's a place that you can go for picnic. It's a place you can go for honeymoon. It's not just a beach, but you see a lot of restaurants. I mean, it's a restaurant there, a lot of resorts there, a lot of hotels, a lot of interesting
Just
places,
beautiful
like place that
buildings.
you will
Oh
feel,
God. Just
I wish
imagine
I would just
yourself
die
at
here and go
night
to
in this
paradise
place.
direct. Like is
So
that
it's
beautiful, honestly.
actually it's beautiful.
So we have the Carthage. They said this place is actually a major rival to Rome. And then this place was the city of the seafaring Phoenicians, forever memorized in the Punic Wars. The atmospheric ruins of this ancient town now sit beside the sea and the suburbs of the Tunis. A warning, and that even the greatest cities can be reduced to rubble. The ruins are extensive but spread out. But if you are being lucky enough to visit the ancient city or site as the Ephesus, or sorry, the Ephesus in Turkey, like this place is actually a place that you can liken to the one in Rome. You know, there's a site like this where the
Yeah.
gods of Egypt were being if you watch that movie though,
Oh wow,
that tells
yeah.
more about the gods of Egypt. And this is a place that looks like one thing that they have there in Rome, and which is why I think I said this earlier, that the influences of Romans too can be seen
Yeah.
in Tunisia because of how they are as well they have as well resided in this particular region of the coming of the world before. So if you go to a place like this, it will remind you of so many things. It will remind you of so many things that have happened in the past, just like I've said earlier. So it's a place that has a lot of other places involved. Like when I mean other places involved, this Carthage has its own museum. It has its own park where you see wildlife, you see some wildlife parks and all of those things, and then you see places where some of the ancient people were being buried. You see some of their graves there,
Yeah.
and then it's a place that have its own separate cafe too, restaurants. Like there are a lot of places that are embedded in this particular site. It has its own cathedrals too. You see a lot of cathedrals there.
Cathedrals.
So it's a beautiful place actually. It's a place that even if you want to stay there, you can as well, you know, book a place, and in case you didn't even finish touring around, touring around actually, you can as well sleep over and then continue your tour the following day. It's a place that you cannot just use a day and exhaust.
Of course.
You just have to like
If,
take everything gradually.
True.
And it's not a place that you have to be in haste to roam about and then go back to where you are.
Because you
where
won't even
are
get
staying.
the thing
You
you're
won't get
looking
what you
for.
want,
Yeah,
but then go to
true.
the necessary
You
places.
said
Take your
if
time.
you're actually interested in Africa's ancient post and all of that, like their
Come to
past things. You should
Tunisia.
visit Tunisia, then you will learn a
Come
lot
to
of things. Then
Tunisia.
you will get to know
Come,
what
let
is
me take
being
you to
done.
Tunisia.
Of course. Oh Lord, please don't miss any visit to Tunisia. The National Bardo Museum. He said it's even non-museum fans can't fail to be impressed at the massive hall of beautiful mosaics exhibited into the Bardo. Then this is one of the North Africa's top museum. It houses one of the world's most important mosaic collection, all curated beautifully. Of course, it's actually a beautiful place for you to visit. The National Bardo Museum is a place where you go and then you get all the things you want, like all the past buildings, maybe the craft, the artworks and all of that. Once you enter inside that place, like, it's been decorated beautifully, so it will showcase all the dazzling intricate artistry of the Roman and the Byzantine eras, which pieces the cherry picked from every major
Architecture.
architectural site in Tunisia. If you only have one day in Tunisia's capital, Tunis, this museum should be high up on your top list to do. Of course, this is a museum for you to visit, and then the advice they're giving is that if you have just a day, then this is the place for you to visit, because you tend to get all the
It's
things
not about
you
having
need.
a day. Look for a day. Look for it, because it's a place that is worth visiting.
True, it's
It's
a place
that
for
is,
you to
that
visit.
you are worth the experience of how things are done there. You know, sometimes stories don't really get you the satisfaction of what you want
True.
until you see them yourself, have the presence of it yourself, and then probably you can be able to relate even better. So sometimes you just try as possible to squeeze that moment, squeeze that time to experience life at extreme, experience life at, like, try to how do I put this, like, try to see how things were being done magnificently, naturally, even by God. Aside from the small touch of artificials that have been accompanied with some of these things, then that have been accompanied with some of these things. One is meant to, praise even some of the brain behind the structure of some of these buildings, so that you can get an insight of some of how some of these things are done, and it can as well influence you doing something better than what you've seen. Sometimes you don't just see things for the sake of seeing them, or for the sake of you being seen how fascinated all of those things were being built, but then for the fact that it can impact you to doing something better is the reason why sometimes you just have to see things yourself, so that you get a better understanding of how some of these things are done accurately.
Thank you,
I
sir.
rest my case. Then we have the CDB. The CDB or said, this place is one of the most beautiful sites.
I like
in
that
the whole
part.
of-
One of the
I'm
most
stressing. I'm
beautiful.
stressing the word beautiful. One of the, no, it's not as if it's really that beautiful, but then for me,
Okay, then
for
you should
me,
say for
it's one
you.
of the most beautiful places. Do you know why?
Right.
This particular place is painted blue and white.
Because you love blue.
No, no,
But
no.
there's
There's this
something about
attraction.
blue
There's
color
attraction. There's
yeah,
attraction.
true.
Blue and white gives you.
True.
So that's the attraction that I have towards this particular site, because it's a site that is very intriguing. That it is calling. It is inviting. It's a place that you can spend a week touring around,
And you won't even be
and
tired.
you won't be tired, because the more you open another door, the more you see an exciting thing to which you will be inquisitive to know what's even inside, and then what is even after that particular inside. Do you understand that English?
Please explain it again. Please, can you come back, please? Again.
Oh, you didn't get it.
I didn't get
Forget
it.
about it. So the brain behind this particular color or this design or structure is dated back to a French painter and a baron during the the French Empire, during the colonial stuff and all of that in that particular region. So he was the one that felt that my palace, that is the baron, that felt that my palace should be decorated or designed by a color of white and blue. So after everybody or the citizens as at then saw this particular color to see how beautiful it is, they decided to as well paint the whole of their own buildings to be blue and white. So that was the brain behind this particular piece. I know I told you I will tell you more about this
Yeah, of
country.
course you said
So you
so.
say
Thank
you
you
see
very much.
I'm educating you, because I know you don't know all of these things. I've been there, so I asked questions. I was like, "Hey, come here. Please, can you tell me what's behind this? What's this?" And they told me, and I was, I put some of these things into writing. I decided to, sink some of these things into my head. So when I come back to this country, I can educate people like you so that you'll be
Like, I
fascinated.
just want to reserve what I have in my mind for you. Let me just leave it. This actually, this particular CD Ball said is actually a place like when you're having a lazy afternoon, when you're
You
having
can just go for
you can
sightseeing.
just find yourself in that place and then you enjoy yourself. Like if you feel like you're having a lot of thoughts in your head, maybe you're not even thinking straight, or maybe you're having problems, you just go to this particular place. Like the sight alone is something that is breathtaking.
It's
And then,
embracing.
of course, like when you find yourself in this particular place, don't just hesitate to enjoy yourself and then to take away all those things in your head. We've been saying a lot about Tunisia. I think we should take a time out, and then when we're back. So we'll be taking a time out, and when we come back, we'll continue from where we stopped. We'll still tell you things that you need to know about Tunisia. Stay with us. Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us. It's still the Midday Show live on Elko Television, and we're talking about things to do in Tunisia and things not to do, and places to visit, and the kind of food to eat. I still have Tony in the studio.
I thought you were
with
not
me.
going to
Welcome
welcome me
back
back.
to
I was just waiting patiently for you.
Of course,
Because
why would
it's
the
going
patient
to
dog
be, it's
eat
going
the
to be,
fattest
it's going to
bone?
be, it's going to be offensive to me having your guests on the
Oh,
show with
Lord
you
have
and you not
mercy.
acknowledging
My
him
guest,
in
I'm
the
sorry,
rightful.
Your Highness, my guest.
After
sir.
this show, you see me for something I can do for you.
The whole world will know if you don't give it to me. The whole world will know. Don't worry. I know where to get to. Anyways, another place to visit again, we have the Bularidja. And then Tunisia has no shortage of Roman ruins. But Bularidja near Tabarka is the country's most interesting and intriguing site. And then when you talk about this particular place, like this is a place where you should visit, and then you see the buildings of the villas on the ground, which has left the city houses incredibly, which are reserved today. So then talking about going back to a building to see what is happening there, this is one of the buildings that have been left for ages. For history lovers, this is a unique opportunity to walk through actual Roman houses with their walls still intact and with some of the expansive floor mosaics still in situ. It's a glimpse of the residential life of the ancient world that you often don't see.
The one thing that you don't know about this particular place is that
Am I not in trouble today?
let me educate you.
Oh,
You see this particular Bularidja. It was actually one of the
You should have just known that you're going to talk about this program alone, so that I will know that you went to the country and then you've experienced a lot of things, and then you want to talk about it. So I just
I told you from the initial stage of this show that I was going to tell you more about this show.
Oh,
I was
Lord have
joking.
mercy. Okay.
So this particular place,
Interesting.
it was actually an ancient city, an ancient city rather, that was the capital of Tunisia as at then, or there was nothing like Tunisia then, but it was the capital city. So this was a place or a city that was manning the whole of the capital in terms of soldiers, in terms of animals. I think they have about like 20 elephants. They were being put in places in order for possible invasions and all of that. So this place is a place that happens to have been preserved rather, right from the ancient time up to this moment. So it's going to be very difficult for you to have a place or a city or a village that have been in existence over centuries, and yet the stones, the walls, everything is still intact, just like the way you described earlier. So I think it's a very beautiful thing. And then this thing will strike you to wonder how these things were being built right from time, and then up to this moment they are still standing. And they're not only standing, they are standing strong. Yeah. These are cities that I don't even know the inspiration behind some of these building of city walls and all of that, but then it's a thing to behold, it's a thing to see, it's a thing to be feeling amongst inside. Oh, Jesus, what did I say?
Like, you're just so excited talking about Tunisia that Wow,
But did you
really?
hear what I said?
Anyways, I did not hear you.
Okay. No worries.
Anyways, when you talk about the people in Tunisia, and you said they are one people, they want to know what has brought you to their country. They want to know what you're doing in their country and how they can help you into doing it and all of that. And then one of the big questions they always ask you is if you've tried their number
meals.
one meal, their national meal. So their national meal actually,
My
which is
place.
couscous,
My place of
and then that is
dominance.
I
My
know
place of
that's when you talk
dominance.
about food, you're always found there.
My
Like
place of
nobody can
dominance.
say anything about food and they don't see. Once they don't see that, they know there's something wrong.
Really?
And couscous is actually their national meal. I said there's no way you can prepare that without couscous, and then they call it kuski. That's when it's the national dish of Tunisia and can be prepared in many ways, like in different ways for you to have it. And then it's known as the koksi in the Tunisian dialect. It's a staple dish in North Africa. And of course, if you want to prepare the meal, you should be ready to have a lot of things in it. You have the fine grain couscous is layered over a bed of whole herbs in the upper pot, while the meat and vegetables are cooked in the lower pot. Of course, if you cannot prepare couscous without any meat in it now, as the meat and vegetables cook, steam rises through the vents and into the container above, cooking the pasta with aromatic steam. Similar is risotto. The couscous garous need to be stirred constantly to prevent lumping. Of course, if you want to make it well, if you don't want it to have all these things in it, you need to have a lot of spice in that. You need to just continue to turn it, and then just the way you want it to be. And it's actually a delicious meal. For them to say it's actually their national dish, and then they always want to ask you if you've tried it, then you should know that it's something that they've taken to heart. It's something that is very important to them. You know, when you go to a particular country or a village or a state, then they tell you this is their national meal. This is something they use to welcome you. This is more like couscous is more like the meal they use to welcome visitors. Like when they offer you this meal, you should know that they are giving you something dear to them. So they ask you if you've tried it. It's one of the meals that they always want to know if you are a visitor and if you've tried that meal. So it's actually delicious, of course, and they have a lot of meat, fish, and all of the proteins in it. If you wish to have it, of course, when you travel to Tunisia, I'm sure you should try it. When you went there, did you try it?
Yeah, I did.
How
Couscous.
was it?
It was sweet. It was
Lord
delicious.
forgive you.
Why are you talking as if I am lying to you?
No, I did not say.
You
No,
know,
you're not lying.
you know,
You're saying it. Just that you're not saying it right.
No, the thing is, the reason why I've been quiet is, I'm only a food lover. I don't know how to really, the preparation, everything, the process and everything.
That's none of your
food
business.
making. I really do not. I don't really put much cognizance to stuff like that. But when food is prepared, you don't have to necessarily.
Anyways, couscous is a national dish of the
and it's
people
actually
in
one of their
Tunisia,
famous
so
food. There's no way you go. There's nowhere you go in the whole of Tunisia that you not come across couscous. And I think some of their foods too. Like there's no way you can prepare some of their traditional food without not involving or including this couscous. Foods like masfo is one of the foods that you cannot just prepare alone without not adding couscous to it. It's a traditional food that is prepared during holy month of Ramadan. And they said like extreme fine couscous is dosed with olive oil before being steamed and then mixed with cold butter or sugar. I think this is a very nice food, though I didn't really taste this one because it's only been prepared during the
So how
Ramadan.
many meals did you taste?
I think like 5, 6 thereabouts. But it's nice. It's absolutely nice. There is one we refer to as brick too. That one is just like it's like what's it? I can't remember though.
Lord have mercy upon you. Refers to a family of stuffed pillow pastry dishes commonly consumed in countries throughout the Balkans, the South Couscous, the Middle East, Central Asia, and North Africa. These are the places that you can find the brick meal. Of course, it's an African meal, and they said, of course, it can be made with a variety of savory fillings like tuna, shrimp, boiled potato with capers, preserved lemon, egg, and parsley. The fillings are wrapped in a thin and delicate pastry known actually as locally known as the malsoka or waka before being deep fried. So it's actually a delicious meal. Again, when you try to taste it, the most popular version of this delicious Tunisian pastry is made with egg wrapped in a triangular pastry pocket with tuna, onions, parsley, and harissa with lemon juice. It's a tasty snack that is traditionally eaten by hand. So of course, did you try this?
Yeah, this was the brick I was referring to earlier. you have to no, the thing is
Okay, okay, I'm
you
listening.
have to keep quiet for me to talk
I'm quiet.
and be humble
I'm
too.
humble, sir.
Okay. So this particular food or this particular this particular traditional dish is actually one of the best because you have to it's a food that you have to use you have to use your hand to eat. You don't have to really form it. You don't have to
Of
necessarily
course,
touch
yeah.
it. You have to act sophisticatedly to eat
To
this
eat it.
particular food. For you to have that feeling of what you are eating, you have to use your hands to eat it, and you need to see how I was devouring this food. My
Wow.
goodness. I will take you to Tunisia. Don't worry.
Please,
I
I
know.
need
I know
you
you.
to take me and show me the way.
I know you are eager. Don't worry. It's not me again. I will take you to Tunisia.
No problem.
Haven't I been taking
Tell
you
us
to places
another
like?
meal that you've had again.
Okay, I think I have had this food they call the labi. Yeah, you see, you are shocked. This particular food is eaten by like it's actually a stew that you can eat with either chicken, you can eat with beef, you can eat with and like anything meat, anything fish you are good to go with this particular one. You can eat any swallow with it. They eat swallow too there. So I was using swallow to eat this particular food. I mean this
I
particular
like that you're
stew.
even salivating. So you can use swallow to eat this particular meal.
No,
I
it's like
can see.
no,
This
no,
was so
no.
you
The
just
thing
went there,
is
you were
no.
just eating anything. I'm sure you were just running to the
No,
toilet
my problem
up and
is
down,
my
up
problem.
and
My
down.
problem is I can't really say the name of the foods.
But when you see them, you know
But
them.
if I see them, I
And you
know
know how
them.
they
The
taste.
names are the names are
I
very
can
difficult
just
to even
imagine you
pronounce. Talk
eating
less
it
of you
and
even thinking. I mean, probably storing them in your head or probably to remember them. But then by the time I see them, I'll know okay, this is the food I ate that day. But it is worth it. Honestly.
anyways, we
It's
have
worth
the
it.
mechola salad, and of
The
course
best.
this is a salad that they always serve with the first meal.
Mm.
Like it always goes with the first meal of the day in Tunisia every time. Like it refers to a simple Tunisian salad made with mashed grilled vegetables seasoned with ground coriander and the caraway seeds. To prepare onions, tomatoes, peppers, eggplants and garlic grilled until everything is being done. And of course, if you're going to eat, they always serve it for you to eat, and it's being mixed and typically served as a starter or the side dish. Of course, always when you talk about vegetables and all that, they always advise people to eat vegetables. It's good for the body and for your health at least. So then when they want to offer you any meal, of course there's this salad that will always go with it. They said it's always been served as maybe the first meal, or maybe it's always served alongside with what you're going to eat in order for you to just enjoy your meal and all of that. I'm sure you've tried this salad as well.
I can't remember. It's been a long time actually. But we have a similar food that is similar to this particular food, which they
Okay.
refer to as the omek hoara.
Hmm.
This particular food
Oh, yeah.
is the same, or should I say, is actually similar to this particular one, where you have stuff like the vegetables, you have olive oil, you have garlic, you have like carrots, boiled eggs, and all of these things being put together. Though this one, I think I'm beginning to remember I tasted it. But I'm beginning to remember I tasted it. Though it was nice. It was nice. Yeah.
Yeah, like you're not even sure if
I'm
it
not
was
really
nice
sure
or
because
not.
I'm just trying to remember. So it was. I think it was nice actually.
Anyways, the last meal we have is the kakabao. And of course, they said if you like tomato-based stews, then you need to try this particular meal. It's actually a traditional dish in Tunisia made with fish cooked in rice tomato sauce.
Okay, this was what I was referring to.
There's
earlier.
different types of fish like croaker, tuna, mackerel can be used to make
Kakapau.
kabal. Of course, this is actually a meal that one will want to try. Actually, is a stew. The healthy, easy to prepare. It's made by stewing the fish in a sauce consisting of tomato paste, harissa, garlic, onion, cumin, saffron, and oil. Capers and olive are often added to the stew along with a spritz of lemon juice before serving. Of course, it's actually something that you can actually eat again. So this was the stew that you said you
referring
can
to
actually eat. But
the
then
swallow.
because you don't know the names or
You know-
because you're
no,
not
one
even
thing about-
familiar
one
with
thing
the
about
meals and
Tunisia-
you're trying to
one
rub
thing
it on
about
my
Tunisia-
face that you have
no.
been there, but you don't even
Yeah.
know what you were trying to
No, the
tell
thing
me.
is, one thing about Tunisian names is that their food is that their names are to some extent very difficult to pronounce.
Of course,
When
yeah.
you have-
It's not
when you
your
have-
country, so
So,
you won't be
so
able to.
when you have stuff like this, it's something like something that is difficult for you to pronounce. Then it becomes very difficult for you to even keep them or probably try to remember their names. Oftentimes, so that's just my problem. It's not as if I'm lying or maybe I don't know what I'm saying and stuff like that. I've been to Tunisia. It's not Tunisia here. I've been to Tunisia.
Anyways, it's actually good to have you as my guest today.
Yeah, you can say that again.
And it was actually fun to talk about Tunisia and all the things they do. Thank you, too.
I will look forward to taking you to Tunisia. Don't worry. It's my promise.
That's it on the Midday Show live on Elko Television. Thank you for staying with us, and I hope you had fun and you learned something. Tell us more about a particular country you want us to visit or to tell you about. Drop your comments on our Facebook page and YouTube. Stay blessed and have the best of the day.